what buildings in downtown San Diego have the highest HOA dues and what buildings have the most affordable HOA dues. My name is Michelle Fosteris. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in San Diego. Today we're going to do a deep dive and talk about what factors attribute to HOA due costs. Very quickly, HOA stands for Homeowners Association, and dues are typically paid on a monthly basis, and there's three contributing factors which make the due amount vary. One is the square footage of the condo, two is the type or amount of amenities within the building, and three is the overall funding that the building has itself. Those factors attribute to the variation in the dues that fluctuate one direction or another. So what buildings in downtown have the highest HOA dues? Well, 4 buildings stick out amongst the rest. Number 1 being the Metropolitan, number 2 being Pacific Gate, number 3 being Harbor Club, and number 4 being the Meridian. Now, all these buildings have a few things in common. The first criteria is that all of these buildings have very high-end amenities, things like 24-hour concierge. Some of the buildings have access to vehicles that owners can rent out at their leisure. The building I mentioned called Pacific Gate has a private boat that the owners can lease out for their own private use. Now, the dues in these buildings fluctuate, and I'm going to give you averages. They range between $1,800 all the way up to $2,500 per month. So besides amenities, there's of course a few other factors, and HOA dues are really payments made to the building to keep the building running in fully operational condition. And the HOA dues are paid into what's called a reserve account. Now, reserve accounts they vary all throughout downtown San Diego. It's measured in a percentage to see how well funded a reserve account is. We like to say that anything that's 60% and above is considered a very healthy HOA reserve account. And the reason that owners are paying into these is for any unanticipated or anticipated costs in the building. And you have to remember, the buildings in downtown San Diego fluctuate. So the building like Harbor Club, the 2 towers were built in 1991 and 1992 versus Pacific Gate was built in, I believe, 2018 or 2019, which is a much newer building. So there's factors that contribute to HOA due fluctuations, one of which can be how much needs to be attributed to the reserves to make sure that the building is well funded. Another factor that makes the HOA dues fluctuate so dramatically one direction or another is the amount of units in the building. So if a building has a ton of units, say north of 300, that means that 300 owners per month are contributing HOA dues into a reserve account. Versus a building that's much smaller like Fahrenheit or M2i, it's a lower unit count, which means that fewer owners are contributing per month, which could also make the dues jump a little bit. So be aware of how many units are in each building, because that is a factor that contributes to the HOA due amount per month. Okay, don't panic. There are buildings in downtown San Diego that have much more affordable HOA dues. I'm going to ramble off a few buildings that immediately come to mind. There's a building called M2i, there's a building called Fahrenheit, Park Boulevard East and West, a building called Icon, a building called Park Terrace. So there's a number of buildings throughout downtown San Diego that do have more affordable HOA dues. They range on average closer to $300 up to like the low 800s per month. So why are they so affordable? Well, I briefly mentioned it at the beginning of this video, and it's quite simple. It comes down to square footage, reserve amount, and of course amenities. So most of the buildings that I listed off don't have things like a 24-hour concierge or a pool or a fitness center. So if you are willing to compromise on the amount of amenities that you have, well, it's safe to assume that you could probably also save on the HOA dues that you're paying per month. So let's talk about one of the buildings that align with more affordable HOA dues. A building called M2i, which I have a number of listings in right now. I'll give you an example. We have a beautiful 5th floor corner unit, a little over 1,200 square feet, and the HOA dues are right around $574 per month. So what do you get in that building? You get a fitness center, you get a rooftop that has barbecues and a nice fire pit, and you also get a beautiful courtyard that you can go and read or work in. It's a great outdoor space. Now, it doesn't have a pool or a 24-hour concierge, but it's also reflected in the HOA dues. That's why you're paying, $574 versus, north of $900 to $1,000 per month. So if you are willing to compromise on some amenities, again, you can save monthly. So this was a very short and sweet video. So if you have any questions pertaining to the HOAs that I mentioned or some of the buildings I talked about, please be sure to comment below or shoot me a message. Call me, text me, email me. I want to be accessible to you. And it's important to note, I don't just sell in downtown San Diego. I sell homes all throughout the county, and I'd love to be considered if you're looking to buy or sell here in San Diego. And please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm posting a video once a week, every week for the foreseeable future. So be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you so much.